Can you hear me, Dan? Oh, you're kidding me.
No, you're all good. You're all good, Matt.
Thank you.
No worries. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
You're all good.
All right. So I missed last month's meeting, but I did watch the whole meeting on YouTube and I read the minutes. Could I vote on the continued public hearing?
Yes, you can.
I think, yeah, okay.
Hey, just a quick question. Do you guys have trouble hearing me at all when I'm on the phone? I was trying to work the technical difficulties out with the lady who does our minutes this morning because she said it was kind of echoey. Do you guys notice that?
No. No.
Seems okay right now.
Fine.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens when 40 people show up. So, all right. But I'm trying to get this resolved. It's killing me.
Matt,
How you doing, Harry?
good. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Ari, how are you? I thought
Good.
you were getting the whole crew together.
Well, they're all here.
Oh.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Jim. I need to get a front man like you, Harry.
Is it really? Really?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hey,
Hi,
Jen.
Tammy.
How are you?
I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Bring it on. It's 6:30.
I was actually early. I can't believe it.
I'll make a note in the minutes.
Yeah. Let's make a note.
Jane, you don't have your usual setup.
Hello. So we've got our 5 voting members. And so far, no alternates, but that's fine. Is everyone ready to go? Everyone can hear me, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So Dan, you're ready to press the magic button or?
Oh, the magic button's pressed when I start. I don't want to forget that, so it just happens.
Okay. All right.
I can't
Good
hear
evening,
anything.
You can't hear anything? Nothing?
We can hear you, Jane.
Oh, we call her and let her know?
Hey, Jane, it's me, Dan. Hey, all right, do you want to try calling in on your cell phone? And because basically what I have to do is do the audio through my phone and the video, obviously, on my computer. So I mute my computer, and then I just call in and put my phone on speaker.
We've been using?
I don't think so. I mean, we all can hear you.
Oh, great. Well, I can't hear you. Well, isn't that fantastic?
Yes, it's certainly a conundrum.
The other thing I don't seem to have is any notice that I need to read of the meeting. Is that because we don't have anything to have noticed or what?
We have the continued public hearing. Kim should have dropped everything off. So
Yeah,
we had
that's the one.
continued public hearing.
Those are, he has the list, but there's no notice of the public hearing. So I'll just read it from the agenda, I guess.
Okay. Did you want to try to call on your phone first, or?
Well, I can call
On
up
your
on, yeah, I can call in on my cell phone. I'll do that. So I'll hang
Hey,
up with you.
Jane, are you sure your speakers are on? That might be it.
She's gonna call in on her phone
Okay.
audio. I think you got.
I've done that, forgotten to turn my speaker on, so that could be it.
I'm not asking that question.
Okay, I'll ask her.
She should be on in a minute.
Oh, we don't know.
I think we're on mute.
Roll down. Down. Go down to it.
Are you there, Jane?
I just heard her.
Yeah, I can. You're very faint for some reason.
Okay. Should I unmute this thing too?
There.
Why don't you speak through your computer and just can you hear us well on your phone?
I can hear you on the phone, yep.
Okay, all right. So, and honestly, I think it looks like you're having an internet connection issue as well.
Okay.
I don't know,
Well, the
but
only
you're
thing
with
that's
us.
different, yeah, the only thing that's different now is I moved my room to the back of the office and maybe I don't get as good coverage back there.
Okay. So we've lost her on the video end, but we can hear her. Can you hear us, Jane?
Yes, I can still hear you, yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all set then.
Okay. So let's begin. I'm going to ask everyone if you're not speaking, if you're just listening, if you could put yourself on mute, that would help us with a lot of feedback on noise that we normally get, and it's kind of annoying. So, good evening. This is the April meeting of the Old Lyme Zoning Commission. Today is April the 12th, 2021. We have our 5 permanent members in attendance. That would be Mike Miller, Tammy Tenorello, Alan Todd, Jane Marsh, and myself, Paul Orzel, and I see one of our alternates as well, Maria Martinez. Okay, we have an agenda quite full. Before we begin, I would like to take a motion to amend the agenda to have a discussion on the possibility of a moratorium on new development on Halls Road until we get some sort of pending approval on the master plan, which I guess is due soon. So I will take a motion that we add that agenda item right after our continued public hearing on 43 Hatchets Hill Road.
I would so move.
Is this some,
Okay, Tammy, I think motion, and I'll go with Alan second. Okay, so we'll do that right after the public hearing right now. So we will continue the public hearing that we began last month. The special permit modification to cut and fill property and allow construction of extended loop driveway on property located at 43 Hatchets Hill Road. Northland Group LLC is the applicant. Okay, last time, I believe we were waiting for an evaluation by Tom Metcalf. We did receive Tom's March 16th evaluation, but he had not completed it. I'm getting feedback of my voice. Is that me or from some other?
How about now? I just muted somebody.
Okay. Yes.
Is that better?
Yes, thanks. So, Tom, if you're on. we're looking for
I'm here.
any additional information that you could provide in addition to the March 16th correspondence.
Yeah, as a result of the letter I sent to you, I met with the applicant, owner and his attorney out at the site with Dan last week. And as a result of that, they did do some test holes verifying site conditions. They revised the plan, which I received today. I apologize. I was out of the office most of the day, and I haven't had a chance to really go through it. So, I'll leave it at that. One of my main concerns was if they were going to encounter groundwater. And based on the testing that was done, it does not appear that groundwater will be a concern, which is, I'm not saying a relief, but that's a hurdle out of the way, if you will. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll let the applicant speak to the revised plan.
Are you ready for the applicant, Mr. Chairman?
Terry, I think he's having some internet connection issues.
Yeah, he dropped off my screen.
Yeah, he's got low bandwidth or something like that. Never easy. Let me call him and see. But actually, do you want to just, I guess, I don't know if he can hear us, Harry. That's my only concern.
Yeah, I'll defer to Matt. He's your counsel, but I think you should call him if he's going to be a voting member on this application.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman? No, he's spooling.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him and ask him to call in on his cell phone.
Yeah, that would be best.
Yes.
All right, he's going to call in on his cell phone. He's not sure why he's getting this problem. He has internet at home right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Paul, now you're back. Paul, now is he back?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Gremlins. Okay.
Sort of.
Frozen in time.
Hey, look, I've had my vaccinations. Let's go to the town hall.
Maybe we forgot to pay for our Cisco subscription.
I wish that was the case, Jane. That would have an easy solution. All right, we're almost done troubleshooting here. He should be on in a minute or two. I had to give him the call-in information. And thank you, Jen. We will do a vote on the agenda amendment. Thank you for picking that up. I'm sorry, I don't have a song and dance number prepared for this interlude. Oh, here he is.
The only
No. We can't hear you. You might have to call in like Jane did, Paul, too. Call in on your cell phone for audio. Jane, whatever problem you were having is contagious, apparently.
yeah.
He was muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
You can hear
Yes,
me
we
now?
can hear you. Yes,
And
we can hear
then-
you now.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can
Yes.
see you sometimes.
And you can hear me?
Yes.
Good, okay, because I'm using my phone as the hotspot.
Okay.
Okay, we were going to move towards the applicant and have the applicant have a discussion with us.
Paul,
Good evening.
one point, and I don't know, Matt, we should go back to this. Jen, who takes the minute, she realized we did not take an actual vote when we amended the agenda. I don't believe we just first and
Oh.
seconded. I don't believe we'll vote.
You're right. Okay. All right. So going back to the amendment to the agenda that we put in, that I think Tammy motioned, Alan second, all in favor. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes 5. Sorry about that. Okay, are we ready? We can go into the the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Zoning Commission. My name is Harry Heller. I'm an attorney with an office at 736 Norwich New London Turnpike in Uncasville. With me this evening is David Held, the land surveyor and project engineer for the project from Provost and Rivero, and Tim Sahaki, who is the manager of the applicant Northland Group LLC. I was retained by the applicant after your last meeting, so I am not privy to what occurred at that meeting, and if I'm a little bit redundant, I'd ask that you just indulge me for a few minutes. By way of background, Northland Group, as you probably saw from the application, is a New Hampshire limited liability company. But it has an affiliate under common ownership, Sahaki and Sons, Inc., which is a Connecticut corporation. The reason that this property is being held in the New Hampshire entity is solely because it was utilized as 1031 replacement property in a 1031 tax deferred exchange. However, Sahaki and Sons, Inc. Is a significant Connecticut site contractor that until recently was headquartered in Preston and North Stonington, Connecticut. Last year, the entities purchased the property at 43 Hatchets Hill Road in Old Lyme because it is more proximately located to the majority of their work and has much better access to both the New Haven and Hartford markets from Old Lyme. I was brought in after the last public hearing on this application to review the application and to make suggestions in my representation of Northland Group concerning the application and its compliance with the requirements of your Old Lyme zoning regulations. In reviewing the application and discussing the application and the site plan with both the applicant and the engineer, it became apparent to me that there was some lack of communication between the applicant's desires for the improvement of this site and the plan and application that was presented to you at the initial public hearing. If you review the revised site plan, and has that been provided to any of the members in paper format?
It was provided to the chairman at his request. We just received it today, Harry, so.
I understand that. So I'm not good with the technology, but Dave, can you help me with sharing the screen here?
Wait, I think that's up to Dan. Do we have privilege to screen share, Dan?
Yes, you do.
I don't know where your plan is located.
It's on my desktop, so let's do this. I'm going to minimize the commission. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
I
can.
see you. Yep.
Yes.
Well, I think we have to go back and can we load that up again so you can screen share?
Let's see. All right. Okay.
Okay, we can
Does
see
everyone
it.
have the plan up on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're getting a lot of feedback. How do
Harry, your audio is showing up twice.
My audio is what?
One of them. How about now?
Showing up
Can you,
twice.
Is that
can you hear me now?
No. Do you have the ability to mute one of them?
I did mute one of them. Let me try muting the other one.
Is this any?
Now you're,
Can't hear him
is
at
that,
all.
Well, maybe that's
you gotta unmute yourself. How about
Can
now?
you hear me now?
Yes,
Still there's
And are you
some
getting
feedback.
feedback?
yes,
Yep.
yes, we are.
Can you do it? Can you say something now, Harry?
How is this?
Good. No?
No, I'm still getting feedback, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if you are or not.
Yes,
Paul,
we
start
are.
muting your phone when you're not speaking. That might be part of it. Because your computer audio might be picking it up now.
How's that?
Good.
Not good. We're logged in twice or something.
Here, try now, Harry. I think I found the problem.
Is that any better?
No, I don't know why you're getting so much. I've muted Paul. I'll try muting everybody and see what happens.
Why don't I call in on the phone?
Yeah, it's definitely you, Harry, because I've muted everyone but you.
You think you can? You know how to do it? No. Yes, we can do that twice. I'm not window. Only shows one way. There's two. Dan, can you mute me?
We can hear you. It's just we have that horrible echo.
He says, can you mute him?
One of yours is already muted. Yeah, he's muted. So I guess he's trying to call in now, and we'll do it from his phone.
Okay. Because I don't need,
What was that, Paul?
I was going to say I'm showing that he's not, oh, here he is, he's back. I was just not getting, I just see his name now. Well, we need a
I have
song
him
and
on
dance
twice.
troupe.
Yeah, this is not going.
This is, yeah, so,
Can you hear me
Everybody-
now?
yes,
But
we can
we're
hear
still
you.
getting the feedback.
Yeah, we are, but maybe we should just deal with it and move on.
Okay, we have sheet 2 of these, I'm sorry, sheet 3 of the site plan on the screen. And you can see in the area where the connection of the two dead-end terminuses of the road was located before, and the proposal to loop it around and connect it. We have provided for both equipment and truck parking in the interior of that entire area, which is a necessity for the applicant to relocate his entire operation to Old Lyme. Currently, he has approximately 21 excavators in use in the state of Connecticut, as well as multiple triaxle trucks and other construction equipment that periodically will need to be staged at his headquarters in Old Lyme for distribution out to the various construction sites that he'll be working on. That was an essential element of the original site plan that was missing from what you saw at your March meeting. We have reviewed the March 16th letter that was provided to you by Mr. Metcalf. And as he indicated, we met with him last week to attempt to address some of the concerns that were enunciated in that letter. As a result of that, you will note that there are additional test holes that were dug in order to verify whether or not there was the presence of any groundwater at locations which would be at the base of the proposed regrading as depicted on the site plan. And the test pit data derived from that investigation indicates that all of the test pits were dry. So there is no indication that there will be any groundwater encountered as a result of the construction of the proposed loop road and the installation of the parking. And in addition, the test hole data evidences the fact that ledge will be encountered in this area anywhere between 3 feet from current surface elevation down to about 7 feet in the area of the proposed parking and loop road. So we anticipate, based on the exploratory data, that the project will be conducted primarily in ledge, which will eliminate a lot of the erosion and sediment control concerns, although a complete erosion and sediment control plan has been incorporated into the vernacular of the project and is contained in the narrative that has been revised on sheet 4 of the project plan. The other change that we have made in trying to better manage stormwater on the site is to change the final surface treatment, both of the loop road and the parking area, to a crushed stone bearing surface, 1-inch crushed stone, rather than a paved surface, which will also provide some infiltration of stormwater. It's not going to infiltrate, obviously, into the bedrock below, but it will manage stormwater runoff better, in that there will be capacity to hold rainfall both within the stone and within the gravel base, which will be applied under the stone in accordance with the cross section for the parking area, which has been added to the plan. Now, in going through Mr. Metcalf's March 16, 2021 letter to the commission, we disagree that this is an excavation operation. This is not an excavation operation. It is a construction project to provide an area for maneuvering of heavy equipment and the storage of heavy equipment not in use at the applicant's future headquarters. Again, as I indicated, it is a substantial savings to be able to stage projects from the corporate headquarters rather than moving equipment from Preston and North Stonington, saving about 45 minutes each way in getting to both the Hartford and the New Haven markets, not only for equipment, but also for employees of the construction company. Section 15.2 of your zoning regulations provides an exemption for construction activities from the requirements for an excavation application. And we would submit to you that this is not an excavation. While there is a net removal of material from the site as a result of the construction of this maneuvering and parking area, that is not uncommon. All engineers in the design of a project attempt to balance cuts and fills on a site, but sometimes they are unable to do that based upon the specific site characteristics. It is very common to have construction projects where you either have a net export of material or the site requires a net import of material, this case being the former. Again, just to supplement the findings of the test pits that were dug last week, those test pits provided exactly the information that we anticipated. If you're familiar with the site, this is a high knob of ledge located southerly of the existing building that is on the property. It is at the very top of the watershed. It has no contributing area whatsoever. So the only groundwater that might be anticipated on that site would be groundwater that is derived from rainfall that falls on that approximate 1.5 acre area. The findings of the test holes were consistent with the geologic characteristics of the site. The application narrative is in compliance with the 2002 Connecticut Guidelines for Soil Erosion and Sediment Control. As I indicated, we do not anticipate any propensity for erosion and sediment control because the methodology will require the stripping of the overburden off of the ledge. As required by your regulations, the topsoil will be retained on site for the future stabilization of disturbed areas outside of the maneuvering aisle and the parking area. And on sheet 3, the project engineer has specified the area for the storage of the topsoil during the construction of the project, immediately southwesterly of the southwesterly corner of the building. On paragraph E, on page 3 of Mr. Metcalf's report, he indicates that a general permit for the discharge of stormwater associated with construction activities will be required for this project. We do not believe that a state stormwater registration is required because the total area of disturbance is under 5 acres. There are recommendations under section H, I, and J on page 4 of Mr. Metcalf's report. Section 8 acknowledges the fact that there is no activity proposed within 100 feet of wetlands or watercourses on the property that have been delineated and are shown on the site plan. The applicant consulted with your wetlands enforcement officer prior to submitting the application, which is the proper protocol when there are no activities being constructed or engaged in within a wetland or upland review area. And a determination was made that no wetland permit is required in conjunction with this application. And we would submit that that is the proper determination based upon the characteristics of the area where the construction activities are proposed, and the fact that the predominant material being removed in order to create the platform for the maneuvering aisle and the equipment storage area is rock. The propensity for any erosion and sedimentation is extremely low. And the erosion and sedimentation protocol that's been incorporated into the vernacular of the project is more than sufficient to ensure that there is no migration of any surficial material outside of the immediate construction area. Section I recommends that the clearing limits and site grading be field staked by a licensed land surveyor. We agree with that recommendation. Section J suggests that a pre-construction meeting be scheduled prior to site disturbance. Again, we agree that is proper protocol for the applicant, who in this case is also the contractor and the engineer, to meet with staff prior to commencing operations and agree on a protocol for reporting to the appropriate municipal agencies and periodic site inspections in order to ensure compliance with the design plan. There is also a recommendation that a bond associated with the construction activities be submitted. We had a discussion concerning the bonding in the field, and we are in concurrence that a erosion and sediment control and stabilization bond should be approved by the commission in conjunction with the approval of the special permit modification application. That would be bonding necessary to ensure the installation and maintenance of sediment and erosion controls as shown on the site plan during the construction period. And if there was a cessation of activity and the project is not completed, bonding should be established for the restabilization of the site by an application of subsoil and topsoil and loaming and seeding the disturbed area. There was also some comments concerning the duration of the project and possible traffic impacts. With respect to the duration of the project, I would suggest a condition of approval on the special permit modification that the project be completed within 1 year, which will be adequate time to provide the removal of the material from the site and to stabilize the site and install the maneuvering aisle that's depicted on the site plan and the construction and stoning of the parking area. With respect to traffic, I called to your attention the fact that the property is located at 43 Hatchets Hill Road. It is immediately south of the Interstate 95 interchange on 4 Mile River Road and 95. So there is going to be minimal impact to the infrastructure within the town of Old Lyme required to remove the material from the site in order to construct the project as designed. Again, this is an application for modification of the existing special permit that was granted for the industrial building that's located on this site in order to add maneuvering and parking required to satisfy the particular use that this applicant is making of the property and to accommodate the construction equipment that he needs to site at the property in order to efficiently operate his business. If you look at the other development that has occurred in the light industrial zone on and the MBR zone on Hatchets Hill Road, I call your attention to the Pascalini operation, the Kellogg operation, and a couple of others, all of which are consistent in nature with this proposed application in that they provide storage and staging for significant amounts of construction equipment, and the traffic characteristics generated from this operation will be consistent with the traffic generated from other industrial operations on Hatchets Hill Road. Northland Group and its affiliate Sahaki & Sons has made a very significant economic investment in this property in the town of Old Lyme. The site plan evidences the fact that there are 21 acres that comprise this site, and the applicant intends in the future to come back to you with proposals for further development on this site. We look to work cooperatively with the town of Old Lyme in order to facilitate development, which will foster both the applicant's interests as well as the interests of the town of Old Lyme in promulgating good economic development for the municipality. That concludes my presentation for this evening. If you have any questions of either Mr. Held or Mr. Sahaki or myself, we'll try to address them.
Paul, we can't hear you.
How about now? Can you hear?
You're good.
Okay, Mr. Heller, I have a question for you, and that's in regards to completion of the project. You've indicated here as one of the conditions that we would consider for this project is that it would be completed within 1 year. I'm just going back and looking at Mr. Metcalf's evaluation of the 16th of March, and I see in point 2C, 3C, 4C, that there's an evaluation roughly of that it would be more than 125 business days or work days to construct to finish the project. Now, there are approximately 270 work days in a year, approximate. And I'm looking at this, and if we're saying that this can be completed within are you saying that this can be completed within 270 approximate work days? Again, just 5 days a week in the stated times of between, let's say, 7 and 5 daily, Monday through Friday?
Well, those would be conditions that you would have to consider as to the hours of operation. But that is correct. And the reason I'm saying a year rather than 125 days is obviously this type of work is weather dependent. It's also dependent on other jobs that the applicant has where his construction equipment is committed. So in evaluating it, we felt that within 1 year would be a very reasonable period of time to complete the project.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else on the commission have any questions before we move back on to Mr. Metcalf and our attorney?
Yeah, if I may,
Alan?
yeah, the material that's going to be hauled off site, is any of it going to remain in Old Lyme, or is it all going to leave the town?
We have no way of knowing that. If there is a demand in the town of Old Lyme for a project, obviously, a very significant expense of aggregate is the trucking cost to move the material. So if there was a project in the town of Old Lyme, I'm sure my client would love to dispose of it within the town of Old Lyme. If there is no demand, it's not going to be stockpiled anywhere other than temporarily on this site. So if there's no demand in your local market, it'll be hauled elsewhere.
Okay.
I mean, ideally, the applicant is going to look at the closest source to dispose of the material. If there is no demand for the material, he has property, hundreds of acres in the town of North Stonington and Preston, which was historically his business headquarters where material could be stored.
Okay. Alan, you okay with that?
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Metcalf, you indicated that, you did receive another letter. Any additional comments?
A few comments. One is, in my initial review, in meeting with the applicant owner, I have a better understanding of his business. He's a site contractor with a lot of equipment. In looking at the plans initially, I was a little apprehensive, not knowing, I guess, the firepower of the applicant, the type of equipment he had. So I think the commission would need a comfort level. Well, let me back up. I've seen operations similar to this where it just drags on year after year because it's the eventual dropping point of the material. It's market driven. The applicant has indicated that that's not the case here. It's solely to get the site ready for parking. So he's committed to get the material off the site. It comes back to a comfort level of the commission, whether you feel a year or perhaps in fairness to everybody, maybe a 18-month or 24-month allowance to get the material off might be a little bit more appropriate. There should be an understanding of the commission that regardless of whether by definition it's an earth removal operation in accordance with the regulations, in practicality, this is going to be an earth removal operation. You're going to be having crushing of material. There'll be small stockpiles of material on site, and they'll be trucking in and out. So from a practical standpoint, it will be an earth removal operation, thus keeping it at 12 months to 24 months limitation is a good thing. One of the things that Mr. Heller mentioned about the Connecticut stormwater general permit, and I don't think this is something that should hang the commission up if they see to act on it. But I would like to check further on that, whether a general permit is necessary. What else? I made some notes here. Again, I think that the commission should feel comfortable with the amount of time that it will take to complete this operation, whether it's 12 months or, whatever you see fit. Bonding, the applicant agreed to bonding. I think that's an important aspect of it, for erosion control and for site stabilization should the project go awry and there is a need to stabilize disturbed areas. So having said that, if there's any questions I can answer, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of Tom? Okay. Attorney Willis, question for you. Do you see any impact of this project has in any conflicts with section 15 of our zoning regulation?
Well, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess the question comes down to the middle of Tom's page 2. In the middle, he had stated that he didn't believe it was reasonably necessary for this earth removal. And I'm not sure, after talking with the engineer for the applicant and going to the site, whether he still believes that, because that's really the criteria under your zoning regulation. Is this really a excavation project under the guise of a development project? And, sometimes they go hand in hand and sometimes they don't. So I don't know, Tom, whether, how you feel about that paragraph in the middle of page 2, where it talks about reasonably necessary, and you thought it could be accomplished without the need to remove that much earth material. I pose that question to you only because that's what came out in your report. So.
Yep. And in meeting with the applicant and Attorney Heller at the site, and Attorney Heller noted this in his presentation, that there is a vision for the property to develop more of the land. To do that, the removal of this material would be necessary as a standalone project for just the parking. I'll stand by what I said. I don't think that the removal of that much material is necessary. But when you consider the applicant's desire to further develop the property, then in all likelihood, it is necessary to remove the material.
I mean, that was really my concern, Mr. Chairman, was where was this reasonableness?
Okay. And one of the comments, concerns, I should say, that came up last month from Attorney Marsh was that in approving projects, we typically don't approve a project for a future development or a future opportunity. Jane, can you comment on that?
Well, so can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. As far as I could see, now that I can see there's an interior parking area, I didn't see that before. I just saw the loop road. The interior parking to me looks like a present activity that he's planning to have. So it sort of changes my opinion about what this is actually happening, what he's doing.
Okay. Thanks. Anyone else on the commission for questions?
I don't really have a lot of questions. I did take a drive out to the site though, because I wanted to see what was there. And I think that what he needs to do would benefit his business. And I think that, just an overall look of the property and the way, the way he maintains it. It's one of the neatest properties on that strip of light industrial use. And I think that, we're lucky to have a business owner like that takes care of the property. I don't really see a lot of concern with it, especially since I went up there. I see where he needs to remove some stone to expand his business.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back to Tom and what Attorney Willis had said. So Tom, you don't think that the amount of soil that's being proposed to move needs to be moved for this particular project? Is that correct? Did anybody hear me on that?
Yeah, Tom's muted right now. I requested him to unmute himself.
Okay.
Tom, if you're on your phone, press *6.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, to provide a loop driveway and an area for parking. I don't believe you would need to remove that amount of material. In consideration of the future development of the property, I can certainly see the need to remove the material. So, I mean, I'm going back to, standing by what I said initially. If it's just solely to provide a loop driveway and the added parking, it wouldn't be necessary to remove that much material.
Okay. Okay. That's. And anyone else from the commission? Okay, if no one else from the commission has any questions, is there anyone in the audience tonight that would like to speak on this project? Okay, doesn't sound like we have any public out there willing to speak. All right, based on all of that, it appears as if I can take a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, David L., the Provost of Norvell, we'd just like to address a little bit how we feel that we actually do need that much space to provide for the applicant's use of the property.
Okay.
So his need and demand for parking space for his trucks and equipment, as you can imagine, is somewhat seasonally dependent. During the summer peak construction period, there may be nothing parked out there because all the equipment is out on jobs. During the winter season or a slow period, as Mr. Heller stated in his introduction, the applicant has over 20 excavators alone. He's got other pieces of heavy equipment, dozers, loaders. He's got trucks, triaxles. He's got low beds and tractors. It's quite conceivable that during the winter or a slow period in his business, that entire parking area could potentially be filled with his equipment. We would hope that would not be the case, that it would be put to good productive use somewhere, but there is that possibility. And if you saw the trucks and the trailers that he has, he needs a road with that large of a radius, if there is equipment parked there, to be able to swing in a trailer without doing the maneuvering that he's forced to do now. So the horizontal extent of that road was chosen for a very real reason. And it's impractical if you're making that loop road to leave this spire of ledge in the middle in the event that we didn't need all of that space anyway. The way you excavate a site like that, you pretty much have to take it out. So, we could not disagree more with the fact that the notion that he doesn't need that much space. He actually does. And he's undergoing a significant expense to undertake any of this work. So to save a small percentage of that cost and leave himself short of the space that he may actually need makes absolutely no sense from his standpoint.
Paul, we can't hear you.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. So are we ready to move to a motion to close the public hearing on 43 Hatchets Hill Road? Take a motion to close this public hearing.
I would so move.
Alan, second.
I'll second.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Who said I'll second? Amy, was that you?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay, now I can see everyone once again.
I
That's
know.
great. No more map. Okay, Tammy second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Okay. The motion to close the public hearing on 43 Hatchets Hill Road is approved 5-0-0. Okay, let's move on to our second agenda item, which we've amended in. And that is the possibility of establishing a moratorium on new development on Halls Road pending finalization of the master plan, which is underway right now. One of the questions I had was with the potential of another gas station being on Halls Road, separated from another gas station by an antique shop. And further, it appears as if Tesla has been watching our meetings over the last couple of years, and Tesla has now indicated it would like to once again make application for the establishment of a charging facility in the marketplace shopping area. Is it the marketplace with Big Y and the Big Y shopping area? This area would be opposite the Bowerbird. They were planning last time about 12 spots. I'm just talking historically now, but with those two things possibly looming and maybe more, I would like to see if there's a possibility of us establishing some sort of a moratorium for a certain period of time for any new development until we get a better handle on what the master plan will be for Halls Road and how well that's accepted by town fathers, and if it's approved or whether it goes back again to the drawing board. And so that's why I've asked Attorney Willis to give us some sort of insight on that here this evening. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When you're talking about a moratorium, you're talking about a legislative act. So you'd be changing your zoning regulations. And moratoriums can be accomplished. They should be narrowly defined. They should be have a specific time frame, usually between 6 and 12 months. I haven't seen anything longer than that. But it takes time to do a moratorium because you have to have a public, it's just like passing a zoning reg. So you have to have a public hearing. Prior to that, you send out notices and things of that effect. I don't know specifically when you say Halls Road, I don't know if you mean a certain zone on Halls Road, but there's certain things you'd have to consider as to what your goals are to consider a moratorium. And if something gets filed prior thereto, and when I say prior thereto, I mean prior to the effective date of that new zoning regulation, then that has to be considered under the old regulations.
Okay. Okay. So if we wanted to just, so you're saying we have to establish it by district or by zoning?
Some method that is clear, so someone reading this change is going to understand.
Okay. Okay. So we would probably look at all of the zoning districts on Halls Road. And would we have to be specific as what type of new development? Or
if you have a specific thing in mind, you should say it. But if you think it's, you know, for example, commercial uses or residential, you know, whatever the use might be, you might want to say it. But you don't want to make it everything if you don't mean everything. So, you know, there's things to consider there.
Right. Okay. And again, it's treated as a new zoning regulation.
Correct.
Okay. And it's held by public hearing or whatever. Does anyone else feel anything for this outside of me? Well, I guess it's just me, huh?
I would be against any moratorium.
Okay. And any reason for that?
It seems to me it's a restriction on private owners wanting to develop their property without any sound basis right now. If you're looking to shut down all of Halls Road, you're really limiting the personal freedom of property owners there. And if there's some issue that somebody doesn't want something developed, then we're really using a moratorium to target certain proposed developments. So I just don't like the idea of a moratorium.
Okay.
I'd like to second that, but not for the same reason. I don't think that 6 months or a year is going to make any difference in how long this master plan is going to take.
Okay.
I just have a comment, and it really, and I guess the whole master plan is the piece that's, that's troubling me, because it seems like, the town has invested in actually getting a master plan. And it seems, just kind of counterindicated that, there may be, just development that's being proposed, like the gas station or any other large project, that's going to impact that investment that was made in the master plan. So to me, it's kind of logical to think, well, let's wait for the master plan, assuming it's going to be within the next 3 to 6 months that it will be presented. And then, after that, then you see what the plan is, and then, then whatever development is approved gets approved. But at least you understand where the town is going with the overall plan. It's just my opinion.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So I think we know, if we wanted to do something like this, how we would go about it. If not, Attorney Willis could help us get through it. But we can noodle this amongst ourselves, I think, for a while and see where we go at that point. Agreed? Anyone else with any kind of comment or concern? Commission members, comment, concern? Okay, good enough. Then we will chat about this at some other time. All right, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Willis. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's move on into the agenda. The
Hey, Paul.
public, yes.
The next item, the gentleman presenting, Joe Wren, is a little delayed. If it was okay with the DeVos, if we could, and the board, could we switch 1 and 2? He should be available after the DeVos presentation. I'm thinking 5 minutes or so, and I can certainly call him. He just got caught in traffic.
Okay, so you're proposing 15 Academy Lane, we do 44 Hatchets Point Road first?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, do we want to make a motion with that or just do it?
Motion, please, sir.
Okay. Motion that we adjust agenda items in the public hearing, making item 2, item 1, and item 1, number 2. Take a motion.
So moved.
That was who?
Jane.
Jane Marsh. Okay, second.
Second, Alan.
Tammy beat you to it. Sorry, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstaining? Okay, passes 5-0-0. Public hearings, special permit to permit construction of a 16 by 17 two-story. Madam Secretary, do we have anything?
I have not read any minutes read any notices.
Okay.
Do you want
So
me to
I
read the
don't
notices for the public hearing?
Okay. Sure, do you want to just read?
I mean, I'm
Number-
getting a huge echo myself.
All right, let me read it for you. Do you mind if I read it then?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, yes.
if I may, unless you think you need me further, I'd log off.
I believe we're set. Dan, would you agree?
How can I disagree with you, Paul?
Thank you, Attorney
Yeah, cool.
Willis.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your
Thanks,
time.
Matt.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so again, item 2 is now item 1. Special permit to permit construction of a 16 by 17 two-story addition on the south side, first floor family room plus a second floor bedroom, plus second floor bedroom 5 expansion with a 2-foot 6-inch by 20-foot plus or minus west side infill to restore architectural design integrity to roof line on property located at 44 Hatchets Point Road, EHW LLC, care of Henry L. Sisser applicant. Pardon me if I got that wrong.
Very good.
That's okay.
Okay, applicant.
All right. Jerry DeVoe from DeVoe Architects,
And I am David DeVoe.
and we are representing Henry L. Sesser, who is of the EHW LLC. So this is a residential project that requires a special permit approval per section 9.1.3, expansion of an existing building on a non-conforming lot. The address is 44 Hatchets Point Road. It is a waterfront lot, and it's part of the Hatchets Point Association, which is private. It's an R40 district, which requires 40,000 square foot minimum lot size, and this particular lot size is 36,483 square feet. It's a single family residence. It's 6 bedrooms, a 2-story gambrel style house that's undergoing renovation and upgrade, including restoring a garage area that's currently used as a family room. So reallocation of this layout and interior spaces led us to this 16-foot by 17-foot 2-story addition. We located it on the southwest part of the building. It has a first floor family room and a second floor bedroom expansion, as was noted, bedroom number 5. So this approach yielded a smaller footprint in lieu of a garage, and then therefore less additional building coverage on the lot. So due to the location of the existing building on the lot, approximately 1/3 of this existing footprint is in the front setback. The property does have a building restriction line which prevents any construction east of that line location. And that occurs to pretty much approximately half of the lot. So this addition required a variance for that front setback and the work that was described on the west side. The total floor area, total lot coverage, and the height remains compliant. Variances for this work were just obtained at the February 25th, 2021 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I believe a copy of the variance was submitted with the application. This addition to the building that we are expanding replicates the gambrel style and the large overhangs which are inherent to the building design. It restores the design integrity to that west side gambrel roof line, thereby correcting that roof line as it exists now. The location of this addition does not extend farther than any of the other existing portions of the house and is beyond any coastal overlay zones as well as that building restriction line. Site grading is minimal and will be restored to the original grades. Our application, we submitted a statement of use and a construction sequence, a plot plan, a survey, the existing plans, as well as the exterior views, and our proposed plans and elevations. We can review any of those drawings, and if there are any questions, we can answer those for you.
Okay. Anyone? Any questions for the applicants?
Is this, does the property have on-site septic?
Yes, it does. It's got its own septic system, yes. And it had gone through the health department approval.
Does it have its own water supply too?
Yes, it has a well.
A well.
Anyone else on the commission? Okay, anyone in the audience would like to speak on this special permit? Okay, so if there is no further discussion, I will take a motion to close the special permit application public hearing at 44 Hatchets Point Road. Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Tammy, okay, and seconded by Jane Marsh. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain. Okay, public hearing for 44 Hatchets Hill Road is closed. Dan, are we ready to move on to number one yet?
I don't think he's on yet. Who seconded that, by the way? I was just trying to call him.
Jane Marsh.
Who made the? I thought Alan.
No, Tammy.
Tammy and then Jane. Okay.
And then Jane. 500.
He's not on the call yet. If you want, we could switch 2 and 3.
Gonna have to keep things moving.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I will take a motion then that we move public hearing item 3 for 38 Hatchets Hill Road to item number 2. Motion? With Tammy, second.
So move.
Jane, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Okay. We will go to item 3, which is now item 2, special permit to permit construction of a truck service building for transportation and logistics business. The facility will be used only for servicing and maintenance of its own vehicles on property located at 38 Hatchets Hill Road, Prospect Transportation of New England. Applicant. Okay, we're ready for applicants discussion.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, everyone can hear me?
Yes.
My name's Ken McDonald. I'm representing the applicant. I'm here for John Bennett, who has retired recently and left me with some of his work. So I've become familiar with this file over the last couple of days. I represent Prospect Transportation of New England, Inc. They are currently operating next door at 36 Hatchets Hill Road. And they recently purchased 38 Hatchets Hill Road and are looking to build this facility to continue their operations, to own the property as opposed to being a tenant next door. It's a 6.88 acre lot. It's currently unoccupied and undeveloped. It does have an existing gravel drive in the center of the property that was part of, I guess, a previous development project that was never completed. It's for a truck. The business is a transportation business. They provide transportation services to the petroleum industry. They transport between suppliers and fueling facilities. So essentially, trucks are stored here. No fuels are stored in the trucks. Men arrive in the morning, drive off basically to New Haven, fill up, and then deliver to the fueling facilities that are customers, and then in the evening park the vehicles there. This would be a truck terminal just to maintain their own properties. There's no activity in the wetlands. There has been an application made to the Inland Wetlands Commission because of drainage potential. Our hope is, I think there's going to be a site walk, and then it will be addressed at their next meeting.
So this is still actively in wetlands.
It is.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. We're asking for a waiver of the traffic study because we're literally just moving the existing operation from the adjacent parcel to our parcel. And it is a permitted use, and it meets all the zoning requirements. Not looking for any variances or anything like that. So I think that's it. That's it seems straightforward to me. So if the commission has any questions.
Are we getting to see a map?
They were submitted. I did not put them on my desktop. And I have to say, I thought Stuart Fairbank was going to be here, but he had a family emergency and was unable to attend. But I believe the paper maps were submitted.
Yes. Yeah, if I can interject, we did provide digital copies to the commission. Jane, this is going to have to be continued till next month regardless, because we need wetlands approval for you guys to vote on the special permit. So if you want to reserve, if you guys want, we can keep the public hearing open and ask some questions and have a presentation by the applicant's engineer next month, if that suits the commission and the applicant.
Dan, I have a quick question. I have one question.
Go ahead.
But, so there's not going to be any fuel stored at this location. Are there trucks up there now?
Next door, yes.
Next door. Are those the,
Yes.
are those the same trucks that you'll be storing?
Yes. Basically be moving the operation to this facility.
Okay. And so the trucks actually say jet fuel on the side of them, but they're empty?
When they're on the property, they are. The applicant does not own any of the fuel, so what they do is they drive off site, load in New Haven, and then deliver to the facilities, retail and whatnot.
Okay. And
So
how
it's
many
always, sorry.
how many trucks are there? I saw 8. I actually stumbled upon this by mistake.
I know that generally there's about 5 employees during the day and 1 or 2. So there could be, if you saw 8, there could be 8, certainly.
Okay. But they're empty, right?
They're empty on the property, yes.
Okay.
It's literally a transportation business where they go pick up the fuel, deliver it to the customer, and then return basically in the evening, empty.
Okay. And it's jet fuel, right?
I'm not sure it's called jet fuel. It's different types of petroleum product.
Okay.
Just
Because
looking
the
at
truck,
their
the tank
website.
said jet fuel. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, it's Mike Miller. We received a package of information that indicated a single 10,000 gallon commercial grade motor fuel storage tank will be installed.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's just for their use. That's for their trucks. It's not
So that's-
the product that's being transported.
So that's diesel.
Yes.
And what type of maintenance are they going to be performing there?
Just routine maintenance on their vehicles.
Just on their vehicles, not
just on their vehicles, correct.
okay. Now, will there be oils stored in that maintenance building of sorts for the trucks?
No, I mean, there could be, right now they could change oil, but they dispose of it properly. That's not their business. It's just for their routine
Right,
maintenance.
it's for the maintenance of their vehicles, right?
Right. Right.
Does Tom Metcalf have a copy of these, and will we be receiving his review of these documents in conjunction with next month's meeting?
Dan provided me with copies of the plan and I don't have the application, but I had planned on getting you a review. I've been out to the site and I've done a cursory review of the plans. And what I will do is contact the project engineer, discuss any questions I may have, and then provide you folks with a review letter.
Very good.
Anyone else? Any other questions or? Anyone in the audience tonight outside of the commission that would like to make comment? Okay. Based on that fact, then I would recommend that we hold the public hearing open until next month. We still have the applicant still has application in wetlands, and Tom was going to be reviewing it. So I would propose that we keep the public hearing open and continue in May. Okay, if there's no discussion on, go ahead. I'm sorry, who was speaking? Guess no one. Okay, if there is no discussion, and if there's no concern, I will take a motion to keep the public hearing open, close it for tonight, and move it to the next meeting in May. Motion.
So be it.
Alan Todd, Second? Tammy, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstain. Okay, public hearing is going to continue next month in May.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, Dan, are we ready to go back to number 3?
We are.
Was number 1? We are?
We
Okay.
are ready.
Okay, so I will do the reading on this one. Special permit to construct additions onto an existing 4-bedroom, 2.5-story year-round dwelling. Removal of existing non-conforming detached garage. Construct a new pool house and in-ground pool. Install new Keystone driveway and other associated improvements. Variances were granted since the proposed lot coverage of 12.2% exceeds the 10% allowed for construction or expansion of buildings/structures within 50 feet and 100 feet of the Lieutenant River, which is a tributary of the Connecticut River Gateway Conservation Zone, on property located at 15 Academy Lane, Granton, Margaret, Cambridge. Applicants. Applicants, the floor is yours.
Good evening. This is Joe Wren. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Joe.
Okay, excellent. I'm not at my normal office setup today. I had a crazy day traveling back through New York and Fairfield County, but back at my home computer, so I'm glad that you guys can hear me okay. Otherwise, I would have called in. So I'll keep this brief. We did go through Zoning Board of Appeals. We did get the required variances for the pool and the pool house and the main house. We did not need any variances or gateway approvals for the carriage house because that is outside. It meets all the setbacks, and also it is outside of the 100-foot setbacks from the coastal resources. So everything on the application per gateway is the addition to the main house, the swimming pool, and the pool house, which is why we're in front of you this evening. Since the main house with the addition exceeds, or even without the addition, exceeds the gross floor area threshold, that's what triggers this and forces us to come in front of you after we get our variances at Zoning Board of Appeals. We did meet with Gateway a few months back now. I think back in maybe December we met with them. They liked the project, and the main thing they wanted to make sure of is that the mature trees along the Lieutenant River were going to remain, and that we were going to replace more trees than we had to take down. There were some on the Academy Lane side of the property that did need to be removed because of their health and their location with any improvement, driveway or septic system up in that front yard area. There were some larger maples, but they were hollow inside and needed to come down. We have many trees and shrubs along the property lines, as you could see, not the Lieutenant River side, but I guess it would be the north property line and the east property line, and some more trees in the driveway area. And we are maintaining the trees along the Lieutenant River side. We did get a variance for coverage up to the 12.2%. And that was, this lot is just over 40,000 square feet. So your regulations bump down from 15 to 10 if you have a lot that's more than 40,000 square feet. I believe, I don't have the plan in front of me, but we have maybe 41,000 and change, just over the 40. So we did get that variance. As far as I know, the variances have not been appealed. So this is the next step in the process. We are controlling stormwater runoff on site since this is within 100 feet of coastal resources. We have an extensive gallery system on the north side of the main house that you can see on the plan. that handles all of the 1 inch of runoff from all of the impervious surfaces on the property. So right now there's really no containment of that stormwater. There are a few dry wells. We think most of them are for septic. Some may be for stormwater, but now we're containing all of that, more than 1 inch of runoff from all of those surfaces in that one area. So with that, I know that we had Gateway, we have ZBA approvals. If you have any questions, I certainly could entertain those.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any questions of Joe? Okay, we don't have any questions. Anyone in the audience have any comments or questions on this public hearing?
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can, Jane.
I'm having an impossible time using this situation. Can Joe tell me what section of the regulations he is in under getting his special permit?
Joe,
Dan, this is Joe Wren for the
Yes.
record. Dan probably could cite the section better than me, but I believe in Old Lyme, if we exceed, is it 3,500, oh no, 4,000 square feet for one structure, it triggers a special permit through the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So this is the one to determine whether you are visible from the Connecticut River and all that stuff?
Well, the waters of the Connecticut River, we were definitely not visible from the Connecticut River, the main line, but the Lieutenant River flows along the westerly side of this property, and we are plainly visible. The house has been for way before the gateway regulations were implemented. The house is somewhere around 100 years old or 90 years old. So it is visible from the Lieutenant River, and that is what triggered Gateway. We have work within 100 feet of the coastal resource. So that triggers your two regulations from the coastal resources.
I'm going to do
Like I
it.
said, we did go in front of them. They did say it's Lieutenant River, and they were okay with it. There should be a letter on the record from Gateway too, right, Dan?
I believe so. Yeah, and Jane, it's regulation 4.10.12.
Okay. So are we getting photos or something to see what we could see from when these changes are made to the property? Are we seeing that from the river?
We submitted photos and renderings with the special permit application and the ZBA application. That information should be on file.
So we don't have that. I don't think that got sent to any of us. So
I believe Kim sent out all the application materials we got a week or two ago. Okay.
Right, I'm looking at what we got, but I can't see all that kind of stuff. I see a set of plans. This is really, really hard. I'm telling you, I'm not getting very happy trying to review these things, because this isn't the way I want Mr. Wren to put these things up on our screen and look at them. Because I'm trying to go through my computer and find these, and it's not working out. I'm just telling you, in as nice a way as I can.
We submitted a very detailed architectural rendering because we had to have them for Gateway.
Well, maybe you did, Joe, but I can't see them. Maybe they're in a file
there was
somewhere.
We submitted this application back in, and Dan could attest to this. We submitted it several weeks before it was due, and then there was some mix up with the application, and then we resubmitted the materials. So I thought we submitted the same thing again, because we did have a very, very detailed rendering from the architect of existing and proposed conditions. I can see if I have that. Dan, that was a document that we reviewed at ZBA. Would you still have that in your file folder that you can share?
It's mute for a second.
The architectural plans?
I'm trying to find this stuff right now, Joe.
Okay.
I'll tell you what we have is we have your, plans, we have your, I think it's 1, 2, 3, four pages of plans. And, you know, one of them is looking down at the property and the houses on the property. But I think it's just plans.
Yeah, no, we definitely submitted architectural plans too. Let me see if Dan's looking and I am looking as well to see if we could bring it to show too. But we did do that on purpose. We did need that for Gateway, so we did have it. It was prepared. We like to have our applications as prepared as possible, as you know. So I'm sad
Right,
to
so
hear
what
that you
I
don't
think-
have that with your packet, but let me see what I can bring up for you.
Yeah. Kim gave us two things. She gave us a set of paper plan. Well, we don't have paper plans. We have digital plans, 4 sheets. And she gave us the Town of Old Lyme special permit application, just the application that gets typed up. None of the other things that you submitted are given to us. So it's just a little hard what I think I'm supposed to be reviewing.
No, of course. I understand that. And I guess I was thinking that you did have those. So let me see what I could find via email and get that up. And again, I apologize. I'm not in my normal format. I'm not I wasn't able to be at my office this evening because of a nightmare trip up from Baltimore today through Fairfield County and 7 accidents and 3 hours longer than I expected. So I apologize for that.
Jane,
I'm at my home
Jane, there's
computer
no
and I
question.
will.
Jane, are there any questions that I could answer for you? I mean, I've got the plans here, but doesn't really
how
help
about
you.
the photographs? How about the
I
photographs
don't
and
have any.
architectural?
No, I don't
I
have
know,
any
that's
of
what
that.
we don't have. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have the
I
plans and
actually
I have
went out to the site and I took some pictures of the site actually. I'm just wondering, the carriage house or whatever it is seems awfully close and big to all the neighbors. And I'm just wondering why, I guess.
I approve that administratively because
So while we're searching for those other documents, I can answer that one. The carriage house meets all the zoning requirements. There's nothing that was varied to get that. That is under construction and it met the height requirements. It met all the setback requirements from the river and from all the property lines, including a narrow street expanded setback from Academy Lane. So it's further than the regulations, the standard regulations say it has to be from the street line because Academy Lane is a narrow street.
But what about the neighbor's house? It seems like it's, very close to that.
It's consistent with the regulation, the zoning regulations for setback. That neighbor did not oppose during zoning board of appeals and did not even speak in opposition in any way, shape or form. They did receive mailings for this meeting and they did receive mailings for zoning board of appeals as well.
Interesting. Where's the 1,000-gallon propane tank going? The underground tank?
So
Is it
that
on-
is shown with a call out on the drawing. It's on that same neighbor side to the north of the carriage house. But one condition of the ZBA approval is that that gets moved slightly toward the main house just because the top of the tank, it's an underground tank, but the top of it is a few feet closer than to the property line than what the regulations allow. You're supposed to be, I guess, half the setback. So a condition is that we just move that a little bit closer to the main house. But basically in the same location where it's at.
Hey, Joe. I found the email that contains this. I'm sending it to you now.
Okay.
Does that work for you? Do you have access to your work email?
Yeah, let me, yes, send it to my work email and I'll see what I could do by pulling that up.
I'm going to send it twice, once as the whole email and then once just specifically in a smaller size, just to try to expedite this.
Dan, I have a question. When
Sure.
you sent the mailings out to the neighbors, was the plan, did they all know about the plan? I guess I'm just, I find it hard to believe that nobody said anything. It just looks awfully big and overbearing for the location.
So the neighbor actually did come in, the adjacent neighbor,
Okay.
questioning the carriage house. And I went through everything with her and explained to her that while she is not pleased with its size and location, it is consistent with the zoning regulations. And, I have no choice but to approve it. I mean, she was a little unhappy that it took away from her view, but, there's no view easement per se. And so, this meets zoning. I can't not, approve something that meets the zoning regulations.
Is Joe trying to get those copies out to?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, so I emailed it to him, and so he's probably just getting it now and dragging it onto his desktop so he can share it.
Yep.
Was that the one that you meant, Joe? I just emailed you the one where I found the pictures. The pictures.
Yeah, the first one, the first attachment is the zoning board of appeals application, which includes a couple photos of the existing structures. Let me check the other one out.
Just a carrot.
So the second email is everything that was in for the zoning board of appeals application.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, let me see. Oh. So in the second one, Dan, yeah, in the second one, they're the ZBA. So the site plan's there, the application is there, the agenda is there, pretty much everything. The CAM application is there. The thing that is missing is the thing that we're looking for. When is the next meeting? Not until May? It's a
Next
shame
meeting
because I
is
know we
May.
had everything. We submitted what we had with ZBA, to Gateway. Gateway looked at it from the river, those renderings, they were fine with it. The addition, if I could just explain it, is the addition that's on the main house is on the water side, so it doesn't add any visual bulk. On the right side is the carriage house, and that's more than 100 feet, so the Gateway regulations do not apply to the carriage house. The pool is in ground, so you can't see it from the river, so they had no opposition to the pool. The pool house, a corner of the pool house is within the 100 feet. So they did look at that, but it is very attractive from the river. And the thing about the pool house is there's, until recently, there was a very non-conforming garage that was right on the property line, the east property line and the north property line in that corner. You could see it on the site plan. That was removed as part of this. So the bulk essentially balanced, or may even be a little less than it was before. And it shifted a little bit further south, a little bit further away from that 100-foot area. So they were happy with that as well. And all the architectural matched, and it's, quintessential New England architecture. So they were happy. They did ask some questions about the trees that I mentioned before, and they did ask some questions about lighting. And the architect took care of all those questions, and obviously they had that letter of no opposition. So if there are any additional questions, I apologize that I can't produce those renderings that were done and that were submitted right now. But again, we have the the review by Gateway, the positive review by them, and then my verbal explanation of the trees, the lighting, and the no adding bulk from the waters of the Lieutenant River, not from the Connecticut River, the Lieutenant River.
I just find it a little difficult because the only reason we're reviewing is it says the purpose of this requirement is to assure that large-scale residential structures and significant site modifications located within the Gateway Conservation Zone will not cause deterioration of the natural and traditional river scene. So if we can't see what it looks like, how can we determine whether it's doing that or not?
Yeah, it's like I said, we did submit that. And we did submit the same to Gateway. Gateway's charge is also the same thing. And your charge is because of Gateway. So that's all I can tell you. I'm still searching for the plans for you as we speak. He had a nice view. He did a nice view rendering from the river for Gateway, and that was the main purpose. Give me 2 more seconds and to be able to find that. I'm searching architect emails right now.
So I want to make sure
speaking.
everyone is comfortable and everyone gets all their questions answered. And I know that we've got some. Dan, what are some of the options we have here?
Well, I mean,
we could keep the public hearing open for another month.
Right. Well, I don't know if you want to poll the commission members and if anybody else besides Jane, excuse me, Jane feels the same way, that without, an actual rendering, you can't proceed to the vote. You could potentially rely on, Gateway staff torrents down in their approval, that, this isn't an impact. But, that's really up to each individual member to decide for themselves whether, that recommendation by that governing board is suitable to you. I can tell you that the addition itself off the front of the house wouldn't increase bulk towards the river because it's behind the existing framework of the existing house. Obviously, the in-ground pool is in the ground, and so the only addition that you would be voting on, because you're not considering the carriage house because it's not part of this application or approval process, would be whether the pool house, which is set back towards the rear of the property, which would be blocked by the existing structure of the house anyways, for most of the view on the southern end of the Lieutenant. Really, it's when you come around a curve in the river that you would, not see, you'd see the pool house. The bulk of the pool house will be blocked by the existing trees, I believe, on the western side of the property that they're keeping by the river, and the bulk of the house. So it's really up to each individual member of the commission to determine whether they have enough information at this point. Obviously, I don't think Jane feels, and I don't want to speak for Jane, but I'm not certain Jane has enough information to make a decision. But if the other 3 or 4 members of the zoning commission feel that they do have enough information and they're comfortable proceeding, you could close the public hearing and bring it up for a vote. If not, I
did find one document. If we could just look at that, hopefully that will help. It's
okay.
Very similar to the site plan. Let me see if I could bring you up and share something. Okay, let me share my screen now. I apologize. I'm trying to do my best with what I have to work with to help you as much as I can.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Joe.
So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So there was an elevation view from the river as well. But this is kind of the site plan, and it's what one of the items that the architect prepared for Gateway as well. And now you could see the greenery along Academy Lane. You could see the trees in the driveway. There is now, if you see on the site plan, there's another row of trees along that east side. and also this row of trees along the north side. The existing garage is down in this corner, right on, or was until recently down in this corner, right on the property lines. That has since been removed. The pool house is here. You could see the footprint is, maybe approximately the same, maybe a little less. And it was shifted a little south. So as Dan had mentioned, from, a lot of view lines from the river coming in these directions, you don't even really see the pool house until you get, this very short window right here, and you're looking straight into the property. You see the small pool house. And then over here is the carriage house that we had talked about, and that's more than 100 feet. The addition on the main house, there is a small addition here. Obviously, that's in the backside, you can't see. The bigger addition is on the water side, but there is no added bulk because the roof line is lower than the existing, and it is framed by the existing bulk of the existing house on both sides, on both the right and left sides. So that's very similar to what Gateway mentioned in their letter. There are these trees, these 3 trees that they specifically identified in their letter. Those are remaining, those mature trees. And then there's some trees over in the southwest corner that are remaining as well. So does that help give you a better perspective of the view from the river?
There are not very many trees, though, between the house and the river, because I think, as far as I remember, the last times we reviewed this, the whole idea is trying to get the houses not to stand out as, castles along the river, but to make them blend into what's there. So there's generally, although the people can see out through the trees to the water, those people on the water and across on the other side of the water aren't seeing the construction. So it's more of a visual and aesthetic thing than anything that our review is doing. And it does kind of look like it's a little bit empty on, in the front there. There's 3 mature trees, but there doesn't seem to be anything in front of the pool and about half the house. It looks completely open to the water. Now, I don't know whether that's because they only chose to show, particular trees, but are they planning on putting any other shrubberies or anything that would break that visual of this house?
They weren't planning on adding anything along the riverfront. They weren't requested by Gateway to do so. Gateway was happy with the architecture as designed, and adding the trees in the back for a tree framework, and the tree on the trees on the south side, the north side, and the east side, adding more trees than what's currently on site today, and balancing, more or less balancing any visual bulk impact from the 2 structures in that northeast corner. The pool, they didn't have any concern about, just because it's at grade and you cannot see it from the water level.
Yeah, I don't worry about the pool, but it's just that there isn't very much vegetation, we'll say, on the front side of this property facing the water. And so, if I can remember one rather large house that we considered, and they agreed that they would put in a couple of birch trees or something, and it was just so that you had something else to look at besides the home, and the lawn that's going down to the waterfront. So that, and it was perfect for the homeowners because it wasn't blocking their view, but it did break up all the structures and everything that are going to be located on the lot. Now, if this review that we do hasn't got to do with neighbors, unfortunately, it has to do with the water and what you see from the water. As far as, this is my impression of what we're reviewing. But anyway, that's just for the benefit of everybody considering it.
Would you guys like me to, because it sounds like they still need a little bit more information. I just received the architect, Scott Samuelson. I just received his cell phone. Would you like me to get him on this call? I can do that.
I mean, that's fine, but I'm just looking for a visual.
He could
just
probably
something about what it looks like.
Dan, is there one more is there one more application or other business for the
Oh, yeah, we have a lot
commission
of
to
other stuff
discuss?
too.
There's other business. It's just, if the commission wants to hop to, I guess the next item, we could come back. It's up to them.
I'd
Well,
like
Dan,
to,
why don't you poll other members and ask them whether they care?
yeah, this is Alan. I'd like to speak.
Yes, we can, Alan.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Jane and appreciate the comments that she made. But I don't think this is something we delegate to Gateway and totally rely on without do it blindly. I would like to see the elevation from the river. I think that's the view that is going to convince us or add comment to conditions we might like to see in addition. I think we need that information before we can go to a vote on this.
And I understand, this is Joe Wren. I understand we do have that information. It's just, it's not here right now on this meeting for some reason. So that's why I just asked if we can get the architect on the call. If we can just delay this, go to other business and come back, I could connect with him and then he can share that elevation with you.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
What do you think,
Just
Mr.
instead
Chairman?
of delaying it for a whole
Would
month.
he have that elevation?
He prepared it, yes.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, I just got something from Tammy indicating that she might have a picture from the river. Tammy, talk, please.
I do, but I don't know how to share it on the screen. And I think that
Okay.
will show Jane the trees and the tree line.
Tammy, this is Joe Wren. Thank you. Down at the bottom of your screen, there should be a share tab.
Oh. Let me see what it says here.
Yeah, Tammy, do you have this on your desktop?
I'm on a Mac, yeah.
Do you have the, so you got the picture there?
Share it from there.
I can share it from here.
Yeah, if you have the picture on the Mac and if you got the share button on the bottom,
Mhm.
you should get the picture up on your.
River. I'm not sure, but this one lady is really adamant. She doesn't want to vote on it. She can't vote yes on it.
Sorry about that.
Let's say let's turn that individual off, please.
I did.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to share it.
Do you want to email that to me, Joe? Have you contacted the architect at this point?
I am texting him and calling him as we speak.
Okay. Tammy, why don't you try and email that to me, and I can try to do it, and I'll forward it to Joe.
All right, I just sent it to you. Did you get it, Dan?
I'm waiting. Nope, I just got it. All right, let me see what I can do here.
I have it as well, so.
Who was that? Who said that?
Mr. Orzel, the chairman.
Okay. All right, let me see what I can do here. This is a first for me. Okay, I understand that. All right. It's all coming together. Where's that? Here
We
we
don't
go.
see it
There
yet,
we go.
so.
I'm working on it. I'm working. First
There you
time
go,
for everything.
bud. Looks good. Hey, we got a picture.
How's that?
Anyway, can you enlarge that?
I guess.
I'll take that as a no. Oh.
This is all very, very new to me.
So.
Here we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Zooming in for you guys?
Oh, perfect. There you go. So Tammy, do you want to narrate this for us, please, as to where this is?
So this is on the riverside. So that's what you can see is the river, and those were what Jane was looking for, to see if there was any kind of buffer.
Now, is this the property we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, this is Joe Renigan. So the trees and the shrubs in the southwest corner that I had mentioned,
Yes.
those are all these trees here. Then one of the trees that you saw on the site plan is here. The other one is here, and the other one is out of the view to the right. This tree here, this was in the process of the trees coming down. They were limbing this. This was one of the ones that was removed. Should be replaced with that new driveway, the trees along the new driveway.
So the plantings of the new trees, Joe,
Yes.
would they be shown here? I mean, would they be in this area?
If you see where the wood chipper is, that's where the new driveway approximately is going to be. So those trees, that tree line driveway would be right in that area as you proceed north toward the main house.
Okay, the addition that's being put on is to the right of the individual that's limbing the tree right now?
That's correct. Good description, yes.
So we really can't see that part of the house from the river.
I am starting to get something in my email that may help you. So let me
Okay.
go there. I apologize.
It's okay, no worries.
Okay, here we go. So Tammy, if you, Dan, if you could unshare, I'm going to share what I have. They just sent me a Dropbox file, and this will help.
Sorry, this is also on me for some reason. You know, this is not all Joe. If Joe provided this and we didn't get this to the commission, that's on me.
Jane?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you all see my screen?
So, yes. So the head-on right there with those three trees, that's to the, I can see the carriage house is on the right, and the left is the main building with the addition.
Yeah, you see the light blue down the bottom and it's labeled Lieutenant River. So this is the view from the Lieutenant River straight on.
Okay.
Okay, so we have these three trees that are existing, mature trees that are remaining. These are the trees along the driveway that we discussed. This is the carriage house that's all approved by zoning, not part of this application. This frame is the main house. This here is the addition. Coming straight out, so looking straight on, it doesn't add any visual bulk, as Gateway said. This was the former garage that was recently taken down.
Okay.
And this is the pool house. Now, all this is to scale. I could blow it up also. So you can see how it is, and you can see that it's, you know, very pretty to look at, all similar and matching architecture. The garage that came down was, you know, an older barn. I think you were just looking at a flat side of the barn. So much more aesthetic. And the pool house, and again, the pool house is a little further set back and it's a little to the south. So from more angles from the south along the river, you see less and less that. And it is kind of, as Dan said before, it's lower than the house, and it's on many angles from downriver, it's blocked by the house.
And the pool is directly in front of that.
Pool is directly in front of this, yeah.
And one more tree to the left of that tree by the middle of the house wouldn't balance it a little bit better? take,
If that's a condition that you would like, I haven't discussed that with the owner, but of course, if that is a recommendation and a condition of the commission, we will make that work.
I'm just looking and I'm saying if I look at the symmetry of the property, and it kind of looks like there's something missing on the left-hand side, like maybe by to block off that pool house a little, or just to put something, a larger tree along those there, which would give us a nice 4, which kind of establishes continuity across. Any
Sure,
comment on that from the?
There is a curved retaining wall in this area, so as long as, obviously we can't plant that on the retaining wall, but if we put it somewhere down in this area here, I heard Birch has mentioned before, we can certainly add that.
Sure, a nice 3 or 4, kind of like a birch to kind of do its thing.
This is the idea.
Jane?
This is the idea of what I think we're supposed to do, which is look at it from a vegetation standpoint and saying, does it break it up enough so that the eye sees more vegetation and less house bulk, so the house is blending into its environment instead of the other way around. And yeah, so an addition of another tree, maybe anything a little lower just to break up that long, flat house. I mean, it's something that shouldn't disturb the property owners, because they have all the rest of it to look out. And of course, in the winter, they'll have a complete view, but it's just something to break up the bulk of the house. That's why the number 4,000 was used, so that you didn't get unremitting, even if it's beautiful architecture, Joe, unremitting architecture, because the vegetation is supposed to be able to help mollify that a little bit. I would say, yes, add another tree.
Yeah, that is true, but that regulation only applies to the main house in this particular instance. And the only change to the main house on the riverside is this portion. And as Gateway said, it doesn't add any visual, with or without trees, it doesn't add any visual bulk to the existing structure, because it's currently framed by what's been there since 1930. This, even though we talked about the pool house, that's much less than 4,000, and it's detached, so it does not apply to that. It only applies to this structure.
Well, are your clients willing to add another tree? Because that's what we like.
Yeah, no, that's what I just said. I said I haven't discussed it with him, but certainly to balance what we see here, to add another, something similar to a river birch or something in this area. I think they, as long as we don't have to be specific on the type of tree, because I know that they'd be very specific on what they would like to plant there and what might survive in that partial saline type environment.
Right.
Definitely.
Something that enhances and blends with the existing 3 trees.
Yes, and that would be an okay condition.
Okay. Alan, how are you with that?
Board?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Joe.
You're welcome. I apologize. It took a little longer. This is what I wanted to get, because it's, it was done for this purpose, and it's exactly what Jane was asking for. So I really wanted to try to get it, but from someone that's currently in the Bahamas, this is what I was able to retrieve.
Wow.
Well, it's fine. I think this is what we needed.
Great. Really appreciate the effort, and don't apologize. The whole meeting has kind of been upside down today. So.
Yeah, no problem. My day is upside down and inside out so far.
Okay, thanks.
So I appreciate your patience.
Commission, anyone else have any comments for Joe, or questions, concerns? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience today that has any comments or questions?
I'd like to say something.
Oh, sure. Go right ahead. You are.
Well, I'm Jean
Name and
Potter,
address?
19 Lime Street, Jean and Robert Potter. And this may be just for the record, but we walk by that property every day and we were very dismayed to see that carriage house go up. And I'm personally shocked that it was approved because, I mean, he talks about 100-foot setback, but what's happened is it's very close to this gorgeous Victorian house next door on number 13. And it dwarfs that house actually, and it blocks their view, and it is destroying the integrity of our village by putting such a huge building that the public had no interaction with, you know, approving or disapproving. And I heard from a neighbor of the owner of number 13 that she is so distressed that she is getting text from the owners of number 15, and she will not even respond. She's so upset. So I have a feeling this carriage house went up very quickly without the approvals. I think Old Lyme has to think about an architectural historic board to protect the integrity of our village. It's very upsetting to see it. We are just, I'm totally shocked.
Okay, well, thank you.
So it may be just for the record and too late. I wish that there was some public approval of something like that because, you know, what happened is, you know, they may have done the setback, but it's directly next to this gorgeous house now that has ruined the integrity of that corner. And it's very sad.
And if I might, I just wanted to echo that comment. One of your commission members did comment on how large and this carriage house is. It really is virtually, visually looks
Like a
the
house.
size of the house next door, and with trees clear cut, this huge overbearing structure. And again, the integrity of the village of something that was never that size on that property. And so I think the question again is, what is the architectural review? It looks pretty in an architectural drawing from this vantage point from the river. And I applaud Jane's queries as to how does this look from the Lieutenant River, which is the historic integrity of our village. But I only heard one commissioner's comment saying, that's a really big carriage house. And you can see it proportionally to the main house. So again, you're hearing probably some dismay by neighbors a block away as to how do such big overbearing structures get built in the middle of our village, and just come to it from the east, walking west down Academy Lane to the river, and it is a visual gobsmack. And it's quite pretty, quite architecturally lovely with the gazebos and all that. But again, you're hearing some real kind of frustration with how something that big
Gets approved.
lands in the middle of one of the most beautiful historic parts of our village. And I'm surprised that there perhaps wasn't some, perhaps there was, I didn't know about it, pushback on that.
Mr. Chairman, this is Joe Ryan, if I may. I appreciate the comments. All the comments are to the carriage house, which is not part of this application. The carriage house meets and exceeds your current zoning regulations. That's why Dan was able to approve a zoning compliance permit for that. The health district approved that as well. And the setback that I mentioned is the 100 feet from the coastal resource. We're not supposed to be 100 feet from a property line. We are the proper distance and even a little bit more from the setbacks from the property lines, the neighbors' property lines, per the current zoning regulations. And as I mentioned before, we're actually a little further from Academy Lane than other houses are, just because it's a narrow street setback. Okay. And we're also conforming to that as well.
Well, Mr. Wren, just one other comment. It's not the setbacks. It's the height of this property. It is gigantic. I mean,
Next
for
to
the
that house.
space, it's again, so I don't know in the kind of architectural reviews, but setbacks and those zoning requirements. But the height restrictions, you know, it's just, it's a very, very large overbearing building. And if you walk down the lane, I think you might agree.
It's, it just meets the height requirement for that, you know, for that particular zone. So anyone, including any of the neighbors, anybody in that same zone could build a structure of equal to or even a little bit more height than this one.
Need an architectural board.
Well,
I think it'd be nice.
There is
I'm
no
sorry.
design review board in Old Lyme. Other towns do have them, but presently they do not. And this wasn't subject to that.
Well, that's why, just for the record, I think it would be good to get an architectural design board to protect the integrity of our village in the future. I mean, I know this is a moot point, but because, you know, we didn't have a say in it, but I think that would be a good thing to look into.
So just to speak to that one point, I'm Dan Beret. I'm the land use coordinator who will approve that. So the historic district in Old Lyme does serve a function like that. It's just this property doesn't fall within the historic district. The historic district is strictly along Lime Street and I believe a 200-foot buffer. So unfortunately, this falls out. You know, if this was part of the historic district, it would have gone to the commission for a certificate of appropriateness. Now, I don't know whether the size of a building is in their legislative mandate to control, but certainly they would speak to, you know, how it looks. I also don't, I'm not certain of a design board that is there for architectural purposes would have prevented this because of its large bulk along the road. I know that's not pleasing for your walks, but certainly I'd be happy to speak with you guys in the future about advocating for a commission that may, you know, meet some of your concerns in the future.
Thank you.
Well, and Dan, thank you. I appreciate that. I think if you're saying that's outside of the requisites of the historic, but it does have an impact on the historic integrity of the Old Lyme Village. So I think you may be hearing that the architectural review, the zoning review, really do have to be in sync when there's a contingent property on the historic village area. And it's not just for our walks, it's for people and our neighbors who live here in the historic village of Old Lyme that we all cherish.
And our future.
And the future. And these kinds of precedents where overbuilt structures, maybe down in Lower Fairfield County in Greenwich, but this is
where we used to live, so we've seen a lot of that.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be coordination, review, and discussion between architectural review, historic review, and integrity of these buildings. It's a beautifully designed building, but the size of it really seems to be inappropriate for its location. And I would certainly welcome other people who are neighbors and in the village to participate in that kind of discussion. It's not just for our daily walks, but it sure got our attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your well-spoken and constructive comments. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else in the field that would like to comment on this? Okay. Zoning Commission, are we good to close the public hearing?
I am.
Okay, silence is golden, so I will take a motion to close the public hearing on the special permit for 15 Academy Lane.
So moved. This is Jane.
Jane Marsh, motion second.
Second.
Mike, Mr. Miller, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay, motion passes 5-0-0. Okay. Well, that appears as if we have completed and closed all the public hearings. Now we shall move on to the regular meeting. Special permit modification to cut and fill property to allow construction of an extended loop driveway on property located at 43 Hatchets Hill Road, Northland Group LLC applicant. What are our thoughts on that? I think there are some conditions. I mean, first off, is there anyone that's really vehemently against this project? Okay, so that being said, I think it's a project that's worthy of consideration. We do have some, I believe, conditions that have been noted either by Tom or the applicant as well. So are we prepared to make a motion for approval with conditions and note those conditions?
Well,
Yeah,
one of
Paul,
the
do you
things we
wanna-
don't have is the bond amount.
Okay, we don't have a bond amount.
So, Jane,
Dan?
do you want to make that a condition that Tom Metcalf provide us with a appropriate ENS bond amount? And so we'll make that a condition?
Yep. And I'd like to put in the hours and days limitation as we discussed the last time.
Between
absolutely. I would love
7,
that too.
Monday to Friday.
7 and through, right, Monday through Friday.
Now, is 7 to 5, does that work for the commission?
Yes,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
Okay. Sometimes I get a little annoyance with people at 7, but I think that's probably fair.
Yeah, and this is for hauling and crushing and all the things that make a lot of noise.
Well,
Yeah, do
crushing
you want to maybe make a
especially.
condition that crushing doesn't start until 8? You know, let them get their trucks and equipment work, up and running at 7, but maybe not start the crushing till 8. I know it's a limited period of time that's going to happen, but I think it might be a good idea to limit the crushing starting till 8.
I agree with that.
I agree.
And the blasting as well to start at the later time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Noise in general.
Well, I don't think you can avoid all noise before 8. They're going to get the trucks running.
But
the typical
really
noise that they would have
noise.
in a normal operation. So getting trucks running, getting equipment going, siting everything. I think it gives them an hour to start work, so you're not totally hamstringing them. So they are able to be productive in that time frame. Okay, so basically, no blasting and crushing before 8 a.m. But the workday hours would be 7 to 5.
And I would like to say, I think the applicant said it, that this is what they plan to do, that unless the destination for unloading the material is somewhere in the town of Old Lyme, they are to use the interstate. Because we really don't want them to go either north or south on 4 Mile River Road.
And
I don't think
that was part of. Yeah, that was part of Attorney Heller's presentation. So I think I think they would be fine with that.
Yep.
And do we need a condition as well as there's a specified amount of time that they can store the processed material
Well, I would say
on their property before moving it out?
Yeah, you would want to say either the project is complete, which would involve removing all that material within a year. Now, I don't know if you want to entertain Tom Metcalf's suggestion that, you may want to give him 18 to 24 months, just to make that a little more reasonable. I know the applicant is very capable of doing this work, and they're committed to doing it within a year. But it's up to you guys.
Could we do, I'm sorry,
Go ahead, Mike. Good.
could we do 1 year? Because sometimes work expands to fill the void. So if we limit it to 1 year, but if the applicant runs into an issue with weather or whatnot, how difficult would it be for the applicant to come back and ask for more time?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Mike, because
Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
Because they estimated 125 days, and if you've got approximately 270 work days in a year, I would agree with Mike that we limit it to 1 year.
Okay.
And if an extension is required, it's got to come back for approval.
Well, yeah, that's
And hopefully we would get some kind of heads up before then, not just be a knee jerk that, oops, it's a year, but we need 6 more months. We would want an estimate.
Well, I guess you could ask them to, provide, quarterly estimates on how much material they've moved, or like a quarterly update. You could do something like that. Maybe a quarterly update on it. I don't know if you want to.
Progress. I would probably say a quarterly update on progress, overall progress, and what was left to do. Here's where we're at, and here's what we have to do.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to make them get as specific as exactly how many yards you removed, but maybe either by truckload or a general site plan notation, or.
I'm good with just overall project. How are we doing overall on the overall project? Doesn't have to be specific until it's at a point where I'm not going to make a year. So then the question becomes, why not, and what's your recovery plan?
Okay. Yeah, I can work with the applicant on that. I guess the only other things that I saw on here, there's 3 other things. There was item I that the applicant agreed to, said that they would agree to from Tom's letter. Item J from Tom's letter that they indicated they would agree to, as well as the last outstanding thing is whether you want to condition that Tom and I verify their assertion on the CT stormwater permit necessity. And if
I have that down, yes.
Okay. Now, I guess one thing that we've covered item G with bonding, right? Yeah, yeah, the condition that Tom determined the amount for E&S bonding and then stabilization as well. I guess the one thing I would ask is, and I don't think this is going to be a problem, but this just that we condition this approval as not conditioning approval of storage of on-site material as part of his application. If he wants to come back and have, a storage area for material or something like that, that site plan is amended. And, just because we're going from a situation where they're removing 50,000 cubic yards of rock, they're going to have stuff stored on site. I just don't want that to be a permanent use if that's not part of the application.
Well, that's one of the conditions I was asking about, is what's the time limit that they can store that processed material that they haven't moved out? Similar, just exactly to what you said.
Yeah, so it's the duration of the project. So the project isn't finished until the material is removed and spread.
Which is 1 year.
Yes. Yeah, 1 year from the approval. Yeah, you want to do one year from the approval date, or 1 year from, if you guys decide to approve it, say, May 1st or June 1st. Because obviously if you say 1 year from today, they're going to get hamstrung by the appeal period, and they'll probably lose a month.
But we never did ascertain how close they are to starting, right?
I think he can start relatively quickly. It's just, if we said one day from the approval period, it's really going to only give him 11 months probably.
So why don't
All
we
right.
change it to 15 months? That gives them a little bit of time instead of going back and forth. No?
What,
Attorney
what do you think,
Miller,
Paul?
how are you with that? Attorney
No,
Miller,
you can't.
No, you
Not
can't. No,
reasonable.
what's
Yeah,
that?
15
you
months.
can't. Yeah, you can't ask the applicant questions when the public hearing's closed.
I'm not asking. I'm asking our attorney, Mike Miller,
Yeah, sounds reasonable to me. This way. it gives them-
whether he's good with the fifth. Yeah, yeah. Don't go.
I
Hey,
apologize.
Dan,
I thought
it's
you said
getting
Heller.
late. It's getting
I thought you
late.
said
Don't
Heller.
start
Make it
doing this
sounding
to me.
reasonable now.
You know, I'm going south already. I don't need a push. Okay. All right.
That's the guy
So
at home.
Mike says good, 15 months. I'm good.
Okay.
And I think those pretty much captured what I was thinking, at least on my notes.
Okay. Do you want me to go over everything that we said?
Yes.
Jane,
Yes, please.
Jane, are you ready for
Just
that?
read.
I've got good notes. I don't need any more
Okay.
repeats.
Okay. As long as Jane's good, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So we haven't.
Well, I'm
need a
ready to make a
motion.
motion.
You're ready
Yeah,
to
I'll
make a motion.
that-
Okay.
Yep, that will approve this request from 43 Hatchets Hill Road to extend their driveway and build a parking lot per the applications that we received with the conditions that we just discussed, especially the last one about extending it to 15 months completion date. Quarterly review on the project with the zoning enforcement officer. Tom's letters I and J. And the only thing we're going to do is ask the applicant and our staff to verify the stormwater general permit, whether a stormwater general permit is necessary. The material is not to be stored at the property after the completion date. This is the rock material. He said he was also storing topsoil. I don't think that would be a problem, but
No, this is
the
the
rock
processed
crushed
material.
Yeah,
Right.
processed material, right?
Yes.
Unless material is being delivered to a site for use in Old Lyme, they will use Route 95 for all hauling of materials. Blasting and crushing shall start at 8 a.m. and run to 5 p.m. on weekdays only, and hauling and other activities may start at 7 a.m. and run to 5 o'clock Monday through Friday. Tom Metcalf, the town engineer, will set the bond, and I think that's it.
Hey, Jane, one more question for you. Should we make a condition that if they're delivering this material anywhere in Old Lyme, they have to let Dan know where it's going? Just a
I think
question.
that's an onerous. I think that's onerous.
Okay, done. Okay. All right. So that's the motion by Jane.
That's my motion, and I'm sticking to it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tammy Tenorello. All in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Passes 5-0-0.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay, have a good evening.
You as well. Okay. So we'll take the right, what happened to Dan? Everyone can still hear me, right?
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay. All right, so we can take the regular meeting in order, right? We don't have to make any changes. Okay. So then the special permit to construct additions. So this is the 15 Academy Lane. Let's just cut right to the chase. So I believe that we're okay with this, provided that an additional planting is made on the river bank at some point to balance the 3 trees to 4. That would probably be the only condition.
Yeah, and I hope the applicant understands the placement of what we're talking about. Something that will move towards the, what is that, westerly or easterly side of the building.
Easterly, right.
Yeah, easterly. Just break the look of the property.
Right.
Being a one big mass building, and be big enough
and make
so
it
that
look,
it achieves that. Yeah.
yeah, make it look symmetrical, because right now it looks heavy to the right. This
Did
way
you
here
have
it
a
would kind of,
particular species in mind? Like, I know I heard birches thrown out there. I don't know who threw out birches, or particular size of tree that you had in mind. Like, do you want something that's going to be, tall tree, a big, just a little specificity on that?
it probably
Yeah, I mean,
should, go ahead, Jane.
Well, I just said it. It's got to be able to grow big enough. It won't start out that size, but it'll have to be growing big enough so that it can compete with the other 3 trees. But they're relatively the same size as those other 3 trees.
That's
what I was going to say, exactly. Them choose. Yeah, let them choose the species.
But
I just want to make sure that once I get the application and do the CO, that I'm checking for the right stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, a birch would be fine, but I don't want to dictate what kind of tree they have.
Okay.
Should be consistent with the other variety they have in there and not grow smaller or larger. It should grow, in concert with them.
Okay.
Okay. And I guess that's the only condition, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
for the limited review that we have.
Yes. So I'll take a motion to approve the 15 Academy Lane special permit for the so noted additions and building with the one condition, with the condition we spoke about the tree. Jane Marsh's motion, second.
I will make that motion, having held up the meeting for half an hour asking about the tree. So I'll make a motion that we approve it with that condition.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second by Alan Todd. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Oppose? Abstain? Okay. Approval passes 5-0-0.
Thank you all. Please be well.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you, Joe.
You as well.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night. Special permit to permit construction of so this is 44 Hatchets Point Road, rather than reading everything all over again. Was there any discussion on that?
Yeah, I didn't find anything to be worried about there.
No. Okay, if anyone else did not, I will take a motion to approve the 44. Wait.
Somebody else's turn. Come on.
No, 44 Hatchets Point Road.
Right.
Who would like to make a motion? Tammy will motion to approve. Second.
I'll second.
Perfect.
Mike Miller, all in favor. So Mike, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, 44 Hatchets Point Road is approved as submitted. 5-0-0.
Thank you.
So, good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4, special permit to permit construction of a truck service building for transportation and logistics.
Nope.
That item.
We continued this. Yeah.
That item has been continued, right, to next month. Okay, item 5, we have a special permit to construct 3 10,500 square foot commercial buildings at 250 Shore Road. We took action on that last month before, and that's now scheduled for public hearing on that for next month. We have a new special permit to construct a 1-story 24 by 24 country barn with an 8-foot by 20-foot lean-to on property located at 41 Neck Road. Tina Allaire, applicant. We are to receive and set a public hearing. I think we've got room in the calendar for May. Dan? Yeah? Okay, so I'll take a motion that we receive this special permit application and set a public hearing for the May meeting on the 10th of May. Motion.
Now, could I just, I'm sorry, go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead.
I jumped the gun.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I jumped the gun. Do the motion first, and I'll ask the question. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, so motion by Jane Marr, second.
I made it. Yep.
Yeah, by Jane, second.
Second.
Tammy, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Yeah, so this is the same, coming in under the same regulation as the other 15 Academy. So it's because she has a house, a garage, and now she's building a barn with a lean-to, and so the maximum floor area is above 4,000 square feet combined. Now, right now, because her application's a little skinny, this isn't directly on the river. It, she's ordering this from like Cloder Farms, so she doesn't necessarily have an architectural rendering at this point from the river. Is that something you want me to try to have her provide? They're not rebuilding the whole house. It's kind of set up on the hill about 50, 60 feet. She's only clearing as many trees as she needs to put the barn in place with the lean-to. So I wanted to get some direction. Do you need a rendering like that for this application?
Well, she can take a photograph. She can take a photograph of her property.
Okay, from the base of the river shoreline, you think?
Yeah, as if you were on the river and looking up. And if she can then, some people have put balloons up. Anything that will show us that what they're going to do.
Right.
Right. Isn't
okay,
that
could superimpose
take a picture. Go ahead, Jen. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well,
I was
the
thinking
idea.
maybe as well as Sorry, you go ahead. You go,
Dan,
Jane.
stop. Jane was going. Jane, you have the floor.
I don't need to say one word. I want to hear what Dan has to say.
Okay, Dan, you have the floor.
I'll get a picture from the river up, and then maybe I'll actually have her take a picture outward. Because I believe in talking to her, there's topography at a similar level to where the barn's being built, and so there may be, the existing foliage may block the barn as is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll work with her
important.
on that. Okay.
Right.
Maybe they can superimpose the picture of the barn in there.
This is a lot thinner than that. She's kind of trying to do this on her own. So she doesn't, she's not hiring a Joe Wren or a DeVoe or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
That really wouldn't even have been necessary for these people.
Okay. I just want to make sure I have
Academy shouldn't have to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice photo. That's what we need.
Okay.
All right. 9:30, do we want to go on? Or just approve the minutes of the March meeting and call it a night?
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
Alan, you want to think about that?
No, I'd like to do the same. I haven't had dinner yet.
Okay. All right. So I'll tell you what, we are going to table discussion of zoning regulations, the electric charging stations, and some of the other items until next month. Hopefully we will have more time for that discussion. If not, then we may end up having to do a special meeting after that to make sure we can talk about these things. But old business, none. Approval of minutes of the March 8th, 2021 public hearing and regular meeting. I have read those and I don't have any comment on that. Does anyone else have any comment?
No comments.
No comments. Okay, then I will take a motion that we approve the meeting minutes of the March Zoning Commission 2021 meeting. Motion.
So moved.
Jane. Second.
I make that motion.
Yes, Jane. Motion. Second.
Second.
Alan. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed and abstained. Okay, minutes accepted as presented.
Just one quick housekeeping thing. I'm going to have the final vote on that 400. Well, Mike, you've watched the YouTube video, right? You said
On the,
on the March meeting.
yeah, I watched the YouTube, I watched the entire meeting on the Old Line YouTube channel. I also reviewed the minutes from that meeting.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, all right. So you could vote on that. Okay. I just was double checking.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, and the October 2020 minutes and the November 2020 minutes are tabled until we get those ready to, any idea
I
on
thought we
those?
forwarded the draft October minutes to you. Jen has done the October minutes, and she's working on November. So we should have all this housekeeping wrapped up thanks to her great work.
Great. So next month we'll clean the docket on the minutes.
You got it.
Good. Any correspondence of any kind, Dan?
Can I make a comment about trying to conduct these meetings?
Yes.
It's very difficult. I have a big computer screen, so I can put up the faces and the talkers in my zoning commission and have a little space left for maps and stuff like that. But it really just doesn't work if the presenter doesn't give us the map. It's not working to try to review these things ourselves because we need the explanation. Most of the time, I'm not a zoning commission member. I'm a lawyer that's overworked and underpaid. So I really depend on these presentations to make up my mind. And I can't, you can send it to me in emails as often as you like early, but I'm not going to be able to study them then. I'll be studying them at the same time.
I agree with you. Dan, can we make sure that when the presenters come in, they're ready to put this stuff up on the screen?
So yeah, me and Kim are had a discussion about this today. So we stopped requiring 6 copies because at first we were just throwing away 5. So I'm going to go back to requiring 6 copies paper to be submitted so members can pick them up from the from Kim without having to make copies and stuff. And then also I'm going to start requesting that the applicant provide us a digital file of exactly what they have given us. And then we will forward that exact copy on to you guys. I think part of the mix up with Joe today was because of me. So I apologize for that.
Well, that's fine, but we need to be like we're not going to take any new information. We set this back a while back. 2 weeks before the meeting is the cutoff date for any new information. We have to have that there. And now I think if we do this, and then there's a digital copy, so that in case a presenter doesn't have it, you can always pop it up on the screen or something. Or we can even have it as well, but we still can't conduct the meeting this way and be looking at it on our own. So yeah, totally in on that.
Okay, I will work on that.
Dan,
Thank
any
you.
idea when we can have in-person meetings if we're all vaccinated? Or no?
That is the decision for you guys to make. Right now, planning is meeting outside. ZBA never stopped meeting in person. Wetlands is going to meet in person. I believe potentially after this April meeting, they're going to meet in person in May, I believe. It's really up to you and your fellow commissioners, whatever you feel comfortable with. I certainly will try to make happen. It's still 25 people in the big room in the main town hall. So if we were to have a larger meeting, we would need to reserve the school, which is certainly possible. They have told us it is available whenever we want it.
If we have an in-person meeting, is there any way to have this sort of WebEx type of thing happening at the same time?
No, I don't have, we don't have the technological capabilities. I think the first selectman might be talking about that, but they're the only ones who would have the budget to make that happen. I had considered that when this all started. You know, we don't have an IT
think about
department.
it.
We have an TT Comp
say
to
we
come and help
brought our
us if something breaks.
But if we brought our laptops and sat at the table there,
Right.
as if we were sitting in our own offices, what would the difference be? But we'd at least have all the maps and everything all over the table.
I would have to set up a situation where we would have to have some sort of broadcast. You know what I mean? Because then you'd have to have every applicant bring their laptop in and sit down. And then there would be, I think, issues between, you know, what's being presented on paper in front of the commission and, you know, in person, and what's being presented, you know, on screen to the the applicant and the general public at large. So that's a concern I have. It's certainly something.
Say we didn't ask the applicants to come. We're not asking the applicants to come. They're going to keep doing it the old Cisco WebEx way, but we are there in the town hall, and anybody who wants to come and sit in the audience. Yeah.
You know, we can certainly try. I can run it by Matt Willis and see what he thinks, just to be sure. You know, regardless of if the public's there or not, I mean, I'm going to have everybody socially distanced, and
right.
You know, I've gone as far as taking everybody's temperature when they come in. There are going to be masks, so it's really whatever you guys want to do. I will try my best to accommodate it.
I mean, if we've all been vaccinated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think from staff perspective, we would love if everyone just met in person again. But you know, it's not about what is best for what's easiest for us. It's what's, you know, best for you and your health.
Well, time to start considering it anyway.
I would agree that it's time to start considering it, but let's get through another month or two and see where the numbers are taking us, and then absolutely, I would have to say at the latest July, you know, maybe June.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay. I mean, yeah.
Let's see where the numbers are going, folks, because, you know, we're hitting a point now where very shortly we're going to have more vaccine than arms to put them into because of resistance. So where do we go now? I mean, you know, 50% of us are done and 50% of us aren't done. And that means these mutations are starting. And, you know, the South African, I'm not sure you folks are familiar with this, but the South African is right now, not only is it resistant to the current vaccines, it in general is vaccine resistant. So that one is the scary one. So, but again, if less people get vaccinated, it just begins to give that one more traction. So I think we're still in a scary period here. So let's
okay.
Listen
we don't want
carefully
anybody
to
to
the
be
ground
scared.
and see what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just going to wait until I hear direction from you guys otherwise. You know.
Yep. You'll be the first to know. All right. Yeah, I'll bet. Okay, so no correspondence, I'm assuming. Anything miscellaneous? Wow, 9:32. May I?
Let me just mention one thing. I'm doing some zoning enforcement stuff, but one main thing that is coming to a head is there was a lawsuit in 2017, 2018 between a homeowner here in Old Lyme and the town, and it was supposed to be in effect and enforced by October of 2018. Obviously, when I started, none of this has occurred. So I sent a letter to the homeowner in consultation with Matt Willis, our attorney, as well as I informed Tim Griswold, the first selectman, because it would probably involve him, because the stipulation of the judgment was that if the property wasn't cleaned up in a per the court order, that the town had the ability to go on to hire a company to go onto the property to remove the stuff at that person's cost. So I gave a deadline of May 3rd last month, and I had been talking to this homeowner pretty much after I started here. An extension was kind of given for kind of unforeseen situation, but I just wanted to let you know that I don't think any more litigation is going to happen, but there's a potential that, you know, we may need to enforce the stipulated agreement from the judgment. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that.
Wait, that's all you're going to tell us?
What, do
No
you have questions?
address, no what's on the property?
I mean, if you would like to know, it's 2 Moss Point Trail. Everything's on the property. It's a lot of cars, a lot of stuff. I'm not looking to relitigate this or do a new zoning enforcement. I'm simply trying to get the stipulated judgment, you know, enforced or
Executed.
come to terms to that. So, you know, I can keep you posted at the next meeting. But I thought, you know, that may stir some things up in town if May 3rd comes and goes and the necessary work wasn't done. So I'm going to bring in Matt. I'm going to really lean on Matt since Matt was the attorney in that case to try to get that property cleaned up.
Is it blight?
If it's,
Do we have a blight?
We don't have a
rule?
blight ordinance. It's more like junkyard condition. I think is how our zoning regulations handle that. But I guess just to let you know the reason, I mean, I had talked to him about getting this done in August, September timeframe. A tree fell on his house in the hurricane. And so I didn't think it was appropriate to, you know, kind of dump on this guy more after a tree just fell on his house. So, yeah, you know, I had given him leeway and then I had kind of sent him a letter, you know, indicating that we needed to resolve this situation. It just couldn't go on forever.
so Dan, why don't you just,
That's
I
all
mean,
I
give
got.
us, yeah, if you can just give us an update, or even if you give me an update, and then I can pass it along to the commission as to where we are once the 3rd starts and we start going down this road.
Yeah, certainly. And I'm going to have to coordinate with, you know, you guys, but also Tim.
Right.
I think this,
Right.
you know,
If you can share it, please. If not, we understand.
well, you know, I guess I was intentionally vague because I'm not trying to simply shout out, you know, from the heavens, this particular, you know, different people's
Understand.
violations, stuff like that.
Understand. Understand.
But for whatever reason, I got like 6 complaints this week and it's killing me. So I'm trying to wrap up a couple different things that I got going on, and I got a whole other batch coming in, and, you know, wetlands has been crazy. So I won't take up any more of your time with that unless you have questions.
No.
All right. 9:36. Would someone like to pose a motion that we adjourn this meeting for April?
Not me, I'm
Motion,
watching.
folks.
Alan,
No,
you're
you
so good
want to
at
hang
it.
around, Tammy? Okay, somebody else to motion. Jane, did you
I'll
motion?
do it. I'll do it.
Okay, Alan motioned. Who would like the second? Jane Marsh. All in favor?
I'll second
Aye.
it.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
Good night,
Passes.
good people.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
Mrs.
night.
Good night,
Good
Mrs.
Paul.
Calabash, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great night. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Paul, just to let you know, I will probably be out tomorrow. Oh, he's gone. Well, Mike, you know.